DEED's website, and more specifically the Labor Market Information Office, has a wide variety of information to help employers through these challenging and unprecedented times. Labor market information is typically backward facing, like we go out and do surveys of employers and they send information back to us, and then 3 months later or 6 months later we publish that information on the web. But right now, because of the situation we're in, we're working really hard to try and make more real-time data available to help people. So what we've seen is it seems like a lot of businesses really want to understand how they're doing or how others are doing. And so, the idea is if they feel like they're doing fine, do other businesses or other industries that they work with also feel fine? We can get some of this data anecdotally, and we're also able to work with partners like the Minneapolis Federal Reserve, the Census Bureau Small Business Pulse Survey, other surveys and outreach that's being done by local chambers or economic development groups. And actually newspapers have been doing some really fantastic reporting during this pandemic. But one of the tools that we use to help people make sense of what's going on in their local area on a current basis is our unemployment insurance statistics tool. And I'll show you a quick example of what that looks like here. It gets updated on a daily basis for the state of Minnesota as a whole, and then it also provides information for specific counties. Each of the tabs also provide information on the demographics of people who are being affected by unemployment insurance, as well as the occupations that are most likely to be seeing layoff activity. This can be really helpful for employers. They can know if their customers are getting laid off or if the businesses they serve are still seeing layoff activity. Might be helpful for them to gauge whether they should be willing to reopen or how quickly they can reopen or to what capacity. One of the questions a restaurant might ask is, even if I do open up, how many of my customers will come back? And obviously their capacity will be dependent on whether or not their customers are ready to come back and at what level. So this is just an example of the type of data that we have available and gets updated on a very consistent basis to help people see real-time economic conditions.
When you're talking about labor market information, helping out employers throughout the state of Minnesota, especially during these times, beginning of 2020, there's just been a lot of uncertainty with businesses, with the state of the economy. Where are we gonna go from here? And so I think a lot of those answers, when you're looking at labor market information, whether it's from wages to the unemployment insurance statistics, whether it's looking at some of those other sources that Cameron mentioned, like the Fed Reserve or some of the pulse surveys that are through the Census Bureau, there's just a wealth of information that can kind of provide that base that businesses, employers can use to kind of, again, being redundant here, set that base though, and kind of have that footing of this is where we're at in the economy today. And then this is hopefully how things can turn as we continue to go forward. There is still some uncertainty, and we'll continue to explore how our labor market information can help out employers going forward.
All right, excellent question. So DEED publishes a series of regional and county profiles that can help employers understand workforce planning. These profiles include demographic details such as population, age, race, educational attainment, and much more to help understand the local area. They also include labor force statistics, so employers can understand how many workers are in their labor shed, is it growing or declining, and what are the characteristics of the available workers in terms of age, education, abilities, gender, and race. We also publish a list of occupations in demand to help our local partners train workers in areas that are needed. We do a lot of work with workforce development boards, colleges, high schools, apprenticeships, and so on. One example of how this might be used is if we, through labor market information, are able to identify an industry that's seeing a lot of growth. So for example, manufacturing is on the rise in central Minnesota. We might work with groups within the region, including manufacturers, colleges, high schools, any manufacturing associations, to encourage apprenticeships or other types of on-the-job training. We also can use this type of information to help employers think about how they can reach out to local partners to help build their future pipeline. This can include working directly with high schools, adult basic education, colleges, other business groups. All of that is part of long-term planning. If your industry is in a spot where it needs to build out a specific training program, our data can help show the need for that and maybe help secure grant or other funding that might be available.
So one of the benefits of using labor market information for long-term strategic planning is really looking at the pipeline. So if it's likely that your next worker is going to be coming out of high school or college, to fill these positions, we want to make sure that the programming and the curriculum that they get from our educational institutions match the labor market demands of our businesses. And one of the ways that you can, or that we can help, I should say, is by really looking at what occupations are in demand, trying to coordinate with educational institutions to look at their capacity and their programming, and kind of coming up with an idea of, what type of occupations and what type of skills are needed in the local area. And as far as long-term strategic planning, that's probably where the best value is spent, in my opinion, because there's so much capacity there. It's available to basically every student, whether in high school or college in the region. And those students that are in your region have the opportunity to connect with employers in the region also. So there's kind of that familiarization that can be beneficial to help students understand the opportunities in their backyard. And at the same time, it's helpful for businesses to make sure that the exposure that they're getting both in high school and in the local colleges prepare them for the careers that they have.
So yeah, great question again on long-term planning with labor market information. Just one of the other areas to think about when you're looking at labor market information, we commonly will work in concert with, as you've seen before, schools, K-12, colleges, universities, adult basic education, economic development agencies, local government, and then other departments through the state of Minnesota. So one example being the Department of Labor and Industry. They have a number of programs such as the Youth Skills Training Program, Pipeline Program, apprenticeships, of course, and many times when you're thinking about long-term strategies for hiring or growing within the state of Minnesota, within your region, you can reach out to all these other players, and then you can utilize labor market information at the same time. So we can work in concert with all these other players and yourselves when you're looking at this labor market data that we've mentioned before. One of those sources is a source that we actually work with a lot within labor market information. That's the U.S. Census Bureau's American Community Survey. And so businesses can look into that data, and we specifically have within our LMI website, and you can find it at min.gov/deed/data. We have regional profiles where we combine a lot of the Census American Community Survey data with our other labor market resources and tools, which I will talk about in just a second. But some of the time when you're looking at, the employer in a certain region, certain local area, state of Minnesota, what is that local area like? What's the region like? How does it fit in within the state of Minnesota? And so you can go to those regional profiles, you can go to our data website, you can go to the Census Bureau directly as well, and see what is the population like, what's trending, what's going on with demographics. So for instance, let's say you're an employer and you're looking to hire those with disabilities, or you're looking to hire veterans, or you're looking to hire different age groups, looking to hire youth or older folks. That's where you can look into that census data and really get a glimpse at, yeah, this is what it's like in your region. This is the data that we can use to start forming plans and strategizing and going forward from there.
Another really useful piece of information that people can use when planning to hire new employees is wage information. Indeed has a couple really useful data tools for that. The first one is the Occupational Employment and Wage Statistics, which is also available on Indeed's labor market information page. So you can see an example of it here. You can choose whatever county or region it is that your business is located in, and then you can search through a set of over 500 occupations that have wage detail available. This gives you a lot of a really useful guideline for understanding, well, how much should I pay for this job? It gives the employers an idea of how many people are currently employed in those jobs within the region, and how much the typical going rate is within the region. So, for example, if you're looking to hire welders, you can find out, what's the 10th or 25th or 75th percentile for wages, and those can be really helpful. Right now, in a situation where it might be hard to bring workers back into the labor market, employers need to make sure that their wage offers are competitive with what the market rate is right now. So obviously not everybody is making the average, not everybody is at the 50th percentile, but having this 10th to the 90th percentile can give employers an idea of what wage range they should be looking at when they're doing any hiring activity. The information can also make sure that they're looking at the correct type of skill set for the people that they're trying to hire. You can even actually use this information to help write the job posting that you're putting out there. And there's a lot of evidence that shows that right now there is a fair amount of hiring demand in specific industries in Minnesota, even though some industries have certainly seen a lot of layoffs due to the job shutdowns. Other industries have seen hiring increases. Another really good source of wage information is the Job Vacancy Survey. This is a survey of employers in the state of Minnesota and what jobs they currently have available. This data will also show what the median wage offer is for different positions in the state of Minnesota or in the different regions. This gives employers an idea of what the competition is paying for the same types of workers. So if, for example, you're trying to hire certified nursing assistants and you're having a hard time attracting them, it would be helpful to know that the median wage offer in Minnesota for CNAs right now is above $14 per hour. Looks like it's $14.30 per hour. This also provides some information on whether or not healthcare benefits are included in the compensation, and that's something that can really be helpful in attracting new workers based on the current situation.
Yeah, so as we just heard from Cameron, two of the major tools are Occupational Employment Statistics and the Job Vacancy Survey. One of the great things about our tools, if you use them a lot, you'll become more familiar with them and you'll start to go to them right away. min.gov/deed/OES, min.gov/deed/JVS. Another tool that we have that employers can reach out and look into is the cost of living calculator. And so this is a calculator based off of basic needs. So it's basic needs budget for a healthy and safe lifestyle for individuals and families in the state of Minnesota and its regions and its counties. And so businesses, employers can go to this tool and they can kind of set that benchmark for, if we want to have competitive wages, we can look at the Occupational Employment Statistics, we can look at Job Vacancy Survey, and then we can also look at the cost of living calculator. And this calculator is put together through a number of sources. And like all of our tools, you can check out the methodology. You can reach out to us for further help too. And so here we're looking at just an overview of this tool. It's a little bit different than some of our other tools. It's more interactive, where you can play around with the region type, the family configuration, how many children there are. There are some, and this is where you can check out the methodology, some assumptions about the age of the children and the genders of the children, and that can make a difference, but that's where you can go into this tool and really again get that benchmark for the basic needs cost of living. And if we're looking to hire employees right now and we're looking for those competitive wages, if we're just not finding people, maybe we're not looking at something like the cost of living, that it can help you strategize going into the future.
We are here to be a resource for businesses and for local areas. It's actually why we have a regional analysis and outreach unit that is located across the state. We have 5 different regional analysts stationed in career force locations across the state of Minnesota. And they're all available and ready and willing to help be a local resource for you. We strongly encourage businesses to work with their local regional analysts to get more details, as well as the rest of their local partners, including workforce strategy consultants, career force center staff, and more. Employers can also use our website because there's lots of good information already created and available for them. That can include occupational employment statistics, job vacancy survey, and other data sources, including unemployment rates and unemployment insurance statistics. We can help you find whatever it is that you need, and we're happy to help. So we just hope that you'll be encouraged to reach out and get information from us, and we're happy to respond in any way we can.